I feel like this week really gives us that chance to tell our story, and it reminds our employees that their work has a purpose. And it reminds the community that there's a dedicated team behind the scenes that are working every single day to make sure that they have their quality of life. So I think National Public Works Week is so important, not only for our staff, but for the community as well.
That was the voice of Petra Beglarian. She's the Public Works Manager with the City of Glendale in California. When it comes to National Public Works Week, her team in Glendale isn't messing around. Here's her colleague, Oganesyan, who serves as a Community Outreach Associate for the City of Glendale with more.
Coordination and creativity are probably the two biggest factors for Public Works Week.
Taking place May 17th through the 23rd, this year's National Public Works Week will be here before you know it. That's why we've invited some of the most inspiring public workers in the country to join our show and share ideas that make this week so special. We hope that you can find something in the show to take to your team and your community to make your National Public Works Week truly special. Here's Ryon, the Streets and Drainage Manager for the City of Sugar Land in Texas. His team celebrates with food, trivia, local small businesses, and since it's Texas, you know there's going to be a picnic and a rodeo. But not the type of rodeo you're thinking.
Camaraderie that you build and you develop in this type of atmosphere, it's just wonderful. I mean, it's nothing like that. And then I'm just over the moon saying that there are like-minded people like me that just want to be in a community and serve.
Welcome back to Public Works Radio, the official voice of the American Public Works Association. Each episode dives into a wide range of topics designed to educate and inspire, making public works more visible to everyone. This year's National Public Works Week theme is Rooted in Service, Powered by Community. And in this episode, we're going coast to coast to find some of the most unique ways that teams around the country are celebrating. Here's Thomas Roy, the Director of Public Works and Town Engineer for Simsbury, Connecticut.
And all of a sudden you start realizing these people do care about you and the job you do, and everything we do in terms of social media and things like Public Works Week is a chance for us to interact with them, but more importantly, our drivers and our staff start to realize that they are appreciated. And it just really has changed the whole energy of our department.
It's my favorite time of year, so let's dive in. Here's my conversation with Petra, Ani, Ryon, and Tom. What does your team do to celebrate National Public Works Week?
We'll set up a whole week's worth of events. I'll let Ani go into the description of actually what we
Definitely. So starting off, of course, that Tuesday, we have a proclamation to our city council where we also prepare about a 3-minute video. We work with our graphics department, and this highlights all of our accomplishments in the past year. Any new, if we got any new EV vehicles, any new projects that were started or completed, it highlights all of those. And then we'd like to start the week off with like a coffee and desserts. That's the first Public Works Week event we have. And then we move on to our annual breakfast and lunch. And if you want to touch upon that one.
Yeah, so for our annual breakfast or lunch, that's the one event that throughout the week, that's the big event where all divisions come together in one location at our courtyard. And we just pretty much celebrate our staff. We'll have an awards sort of ceremony there where we will announce our Employee of the Years, both for the division as a whole and for the department. It's a bunch of food, games, the award ceremony,
a rock climbing wall,
which has been
really fun.
Yeah, we try to make it really fun here in Glendale because at the end of the day, it's our staff that we're showing appreciation for, and this is the one day in the year where we all get together and celebrate their accomplishments.
Yeah, and then we also do our annual department and division photos, and it's a nice time to kind of reflect on the last year, maybe some new faces that came and some people that have retired. And we like to end the week off with an after hours happy hour, so whoever decides to come, maybe at we usually do like a local restaurant.
Tell me about, 2 or 3 things that your team does to celebrate.
Usually we start with some type of kickoff breakfast on Mondays. Of that week, generally we find a local business, a local small business, and we get breakfast tacos or pancakes, whatever. Just kind of incorporate our community here in Sugar Land. What we're doing, generally have like some type of a game day on a Tuesday. I think this year we're gonna do like a Public Works trivia, something like that. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. So we'll do trivia. Try to bring in like a Kona ice truck or something like that. Generally, because hey, why not? Why not have Kona ice during National Public Works Week? And then we kind of get prepped for our picnic. So in Southeast Branch, Texas CPWP, we have like a barbecue competition during that week. And of course, the City of Sugar Land Imperial Smokers we have to be a part of that. And so we're prepping for that. And we're, a couple of our guys on the cook team, me included, are driving out to wherever the location is. And we're prepping and we're getting ready to cook. Right. And so that Wednesday is the picnic. We're cooking briskets and chicken and sausage, and it's a competition. So, we're turning in like our competition chicken, our ribs, our brisket, trying to see if we can get first place. Of course, we don't forget about our staff that has to stay back at Public Works because, everybody can't go to the picnic, right? We still have things that have to get accomplished. And we try to make sure that that group of people are taken care of also. So try to get them a meal, and something like that that's happening. We do a rodeo during that week, like our own internal equipment rodeo with Public Works Utilities. We get that set up. Everybody gets to participate in that. It's really great time. And we try to implement some sort of a staff recognition for our folks, like a community impact award, a service award, quiet leader award, problem solver award, different things like that, kind of give out to a few of our staff. And then Fridays, we do an ice cream day. So you come in and you get a drumstick or ice cream sandwich or, whatever. It's grab and go, eat as much ice cream as you can. It's the middle of the summer. It's going to be hot. So we just try to have a really good time and show our appreciation to our staff as well as the community that we serve.
And up in Connecticut, National Public Works Week is a time for a food drive, community involvement, and the ever-popular Touch a Truck event.
We've done a couple things in Simsbury. We've done proclamations from our Board of Selectmen, which is a nice way of getting at least the discussion at a town meeting, which is broadcast on our local TV channels, and it kind of gets the word out that this thing is coming up. We've done Fill a Truck in the past, which is nice. Nothing like parking a dump truck in front of our local grocery store. But our big event that really took years in the making is we have an open house and Touch a Truck at our Public Works facility. And the big excitement is we actually have the kids go in the dump trucks and the street sweepers that make a lap around the backside of the facility. So they actually get a ride in an actual Public Works truck. And it took me a couple years in being in this position before I felt comfortable saying, we are going to pay our staff time and a half to be here on a Saturday to put kids in trucks. That took a little building up of credibility before I could do that. And we used to do it in conjunction with the library because the library had a connection with all of the young kids in town through their children's programs. And the second year we did it, the weather was awful. And we see it coming in and it's a storm. And do we cancel it? And what do we do? And we decided to press on, and we got some of our pop-up tents. And because it was going to be cold and raw, we got hot chocolate and coffee. And it was just great. Not only did all of a sudden we realize that the family still came out, they still wanted to spend time with us. All of a sudden, it was almost like breaking bread. Having it was the first time we had snacks for them. And it really, again, it just all of a sudden you're breaking bread with them. You're having a cup of coffee with the parents and the grandparents. The amount of grandparents that come out for Touch a Truck is shocking. It's almost like they're like, I've been waiting for this to have grandchildren for years to get a chance of. When we moved away from our library model and we kind of had enough of our own following, we had Touch a Truck at our Public Works facility. And a lot of the guys asked if they could bring in their teenage kids to help. And it was, again, it was just such a great experience where all of a sudden it was interacting, getting to meet people's families that maybe we didn't know. And it just, the connection, and then to see the kids, seeing the world all of a sudden through of how other people view their dads or their moms. Just really great.
The ability for them to go into a big truck and drive it. Like, why do you think that's so fun for kids?
Well, I think all kids love construction. All kids seem to love the big trucks, and it's something different, new, and exciting. But it was fun that, different than every other Touch a Truck in our region, we actually got to put kids in trucks that were driving, and it was very, very carefully planned with our insurance carrier and our safety people. And the way I describe it is it's essentially a truck-mounted merry-go-round. The trucks are going around counterclockwise. All of the people are entering in from the right side of the vehicle, so there's never a chance where any children cross the paths. We have barricades and people, and we're very, very careful. But again, it's a great chance to understand for the parents, because honestly, I love the kids, but we're aiming to get the message to the parents, look how big this truck is. And we do it with the plows on. Look how big the plow is. Now, maybe they can understand why once in a while a mailbox gets hit, or once in a while there might be a little bit of grass damage or curb damage. They start to understand the enormity of the operation that we're working on. And so we're always fighting for the public to support us during our budget and having these touch a truck events. We also do a snowplow ride along where, again, we try to show residents this is the value that you're getting when you invest in public works.
When it comes to National Public Works Week, why do you think it's important for Public Works to celebrate, to really go all out?
In Public Works, I think we really do it all. If it weren't for Public Works, the streets we maintain, the traffic signals that we control or manage, our sewer systems, our trash, depending on what city you are and what your Public Works department does, we really do it all. But in most cases, we're often invisible and when things are working well. And so I feel like this week really gives us that chance to tell our story, and it reminds our employees that their work has a purpose. And it reminds the community that there's a dedicated team behind the scenes that are working every single day to make sure that they have their quality of life. So I think National Public Works Week is so, so, so important, not only for our staff, but as well for the community as well.
It really is an exciting time, and there's two factors to it. So of course, again, we do try to celebrate our staff and bring them to light, but also in terms of the community, I think it's a good time to kind of share the bigger story of, yes, we do all of those things. We maintain the roads, we advance sustainability initiatives, we pick up trash, but what's the bigger picture, right? Where does this actually, how does this impact their daily life, and how does this improve the quality of life that the residents in Glendale experience? So I think it's that time to, it's a time to kind of spotlight our dedicated staff that respond to these everyday calls, but they're kind of our unsung heroes.
We're out there first and we're leaving last. And, it's important that everybody in Public Works, it's important that everybody that does what it is that we do understand, how important it is of everything that we do and how it's a privilege of what we do, and how it's a great thing that we do to serve our community. And National Public Works Week is just a way for us to give back to ourselves, give back to our staff, give back to our community, just to say, hey, we're here. This is our week. Every week is our week, but this is the one that we celebrate. Just allow our guys to have a good time and our staff to have a good time.
Why do you think it's important for Public Works to really show up, show out for a week like National Public Works Week?
I think there is so much more love for our staff than they ever believe. When I started here, I rode in the big trucks with each of our guys. The first winter I was here, I wanted to spend a little time with each of them one-on-one. And I said, why don't you wave to these people as you're going by? He goes, well, they all hate us. I'm like, why do you think that? Oh, they all hate us. And that was honestly what they thought. They thought that, they put snow in people's driveways and everything else. And we started small things like, honestly, just wave. And all of a sudden you start realizing these people do care about you and the job you do. And everything we do in terms of social media and things like Public Works Week is a chance for us to interact with them. But more importantly, our drivers and our staff start to realize that they are appreciated. And it just really has changed the whole energy of our department.
This year's National Public Works Week theme is Rooted in Service, Powered by Community. Mm-hmm. What does it mean for you to serve in your role?
Working in Public Works is a privilege. It's not for me, it's not a job. It's not just a career. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be chosen and called in order to serve. What we do impacts everybody every day. It's not anything that Public Works does not touch, does not assist to help our community in. And that's the reason why we do it. We're here in service of the community. We're here in service of our residents. I can always help in some way. Even if the answer is no, and that's just an explanation to one of our residents of why it's a no, as well as a suggestion on, okay, so I can't do this for you, but this is how you go about getting this accomplished. Let me direct you to the right person. Let me show you the way. And so I just love it. I just love it. Even when I get the phone calls, and it's tough, and they're ready to fire at you. And anybody in Public Works understands. Sometimes you get some spirited residents, and they're upset and they have these things going on. I love it when I'm the one that can hear it out and say, well, hey, guess what? Today you got the right person. So I understand that that's what you're going through, but let me tell you what, you won't be going through that next week because I have a solution for you. And that's why I'm here. There are no problems, just solutions, just ways to fix it. And we can usually get that done. That's what that means to me. Right. Like we're rooted, we're planted here in our community. We're here serving our residents. And we're here to provide the best service levels and the best resources for them that we can, and exceed their expectations. And that's what we do. That's what we do in public works.
The more I do this, the more I realize it's an altruistic profession. I'm here not because I make the most money being in this job, because I really am committed to helping people, and it's really the thing that resonates with me, that there's other cash opportunities out there for us, but as you get up in the organization, you start realizing, my day, as I explain it to people, is I go in with a plan every day. The phone rings, something happens, and I have a chance to change a resident's day. And it may be something incredibly small, like, this stop sign's down, can you fix it? Oh, you know what? That's going to be done in the next hour. And people are so impressed. But, it's a safety issue. Or it's, water's going to leak down my driveway into my basement, and we can fix that. Little stuff makes a big difference. And I don't think there's any other job or any other career where you can make such a difference in people's lives so quickly.
In Glendale, California, serving the community also means engaging with them on social media, a chance to reveal a fun, more playful side of public works.
As a public works manager, being rooted in service means understanding that everything we do impacts everybody's daily life. And it's not just about our infrastructure, it's about the trust that we have with the community. We are powered by the community, what their desires are, what their priorities are, and that really shapes what our progress is throughout the year. Essentially, it's a duality between the two. The residents and what we do at Public Works, they tell us what we need, we do things for them, and it works back and forth, and they are what shape what we do throughout the year.
For me, it starts with the people, right? So especially my job when it comes to outreach, it's about informing, but also listening just as much as it is about informing, and bringing in making sure the community and residents feel that their concerns or questions are heard, and bringing that back to the department. We bridge the gap between residents and our department. For me, I definitely spend a lot of time connecting residents to resources and translating those complex projects for us. And again, that week, I think, is a good time for us to, kind of put it all in like a short clip of, hey, this is everything we've done for the past year. You guys may not have seen or heard of all of it, but these are our accomplishments. So come and celebrate with us. And I think our bigger thing is we want to celebrate as a department, but also get the community involved. And a lot of that we do through our social media efforts, which is really fun and exciting for us.
Let's dive into that social media effort a little bit more, because I don't know if it's hard to get public works folks to buy into being silly on social media for a week, but it is kind of difficult because public workers are by and large, humble people who just like to get their job done. How do you get the team to buy into that? How do you get them to ease into being less serious on social media for a little bit?
I think it did take us some time. Our people a little hesitant when we first started our social media experience, but for us, what we like to do, we like to show them some examples, right? We get our inspiration from online, things that are trendy, things that are fun, and then we try to flip them so that they match what our department is. Yeah, what our department does. And so what we do is we like to show them what our examples are. It's not that bad. You have to say one word, it's not that bad. Let's just have fun here. And at the end of the day, we are trying to promote you and your work. This has nothing to do with us. This is all about you. And so I think gradually that story that we're telling and the idea that we're trying to get across, we've been able to win them over with that.
I like to say that it's a lot of asking really nicely with a hint of persuasion. Because, a lot of our guys aren't used to being behind the camera, right? Again, a lot of the work they do is in the background. So for us, what's really helped is building those connections out in the field. Petra and I are in a unique position with our roles where we are able to go out into the field and, step away from the office and go and see what job sites they're working on, what projects, how the projects are going, film them, doing a pothole repair, film them doing the hydro jetting in our city sewer mains. And when we go out there, we're not just, standing in a corner taking a video or taking a photo. We're having conversations with them. We're asking about their processes. We're checking in, we're learning. And through that, we build these great connections. And it's really It's come full circle where now so some people actually will tell us, hey, when's the next video? Like, when are we gonna, they actually want to,
Well, I was gonna get into that clip. I was in that video. Why aren't I in it?
yeah. And from the beginning, I would say it was definitely harder to get it started in the beginning, but once that ball started rolling and people kind of saw the momentum and the attention, the positive attention it was getting from the community, from our department leaders, they kind of wanted to be a part of that movement as well. Once they kind of saw, hey, you know what, this is actually doing something. People are actually seeing the work that we're doing. We're getting more credit and recognition for it, of course, and they're doing the work that they should be getting recognition for. So I'd say it was harder in the beginning, but now we have more. We have some people who like to be the star of the show, as we call it. But we try to do a good job of also including everyone. If someone's been on camera before, we'll try to get a new face that hasn't. And some people are shy. We don't push. If they say no and it's a hard no, but if some people, you can tell they just need a little bit of a nudge. They're shy. They've never done this before. We give them a script sometimes if needed. So I would say like our relationship has really helped us get those yeses, but it's taken years.
I will say for us, our director and our upper managers really give us the support that we need, not just for us to film, but for our staff as well to be in the clips. So them and their upper managers provide a lot of support for this. And, our employees don't do this work for attention. They don't do any of it to be in the spotlight. So when they do see themselves highlighted on our page, there's this quiet sense of pride that they have. And we build on that and we expand on that, and the buy-in just grows.
I would add to that management because, of course, sometimes we might need to do a few takes. They're on a job site, so things might get pushed back for a few minutes. But I'd say leadership definitely understands that there's a bigger picture to this. And although they might be taking a few minutes out to do this video, at the end of the day, this is gonna be published, and the public will see the work that they're doing, and that those few minutes, they're okay with giving us. So
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the theme of this year about being rooted in community, is because the community's needs shape our priorities, and then their support fuels our progress. So once they get an idea of really what we do and why our work is so important, we can get their buy-in to do some of the projects, some of the revamps that we have, some of the rebuilds. And I think that's really important. My favorite memory is our very first National Public Works video that we tried to film with our staff. They were so skeptical. They were like, why do I have to do this? And it was a trendy video that we'd seen online. It was for grand openings, and we wanted to be sort of like a grand opening of Public Works Week. So that was our connection between the two. And we showed them the video, and we're like, you have to be really serious when you're doing this. And right, they came in, they were so serious. They were some of our field guys. But we had like confetti and we had cupcakes and like they had to blow out a candle. And the guys got in there and they were so reluctant to start it. But once they were in the process, they couldn't stop laughing. And we're like, you have to be serious. We picked you because you're so serious. And they were laughing the whole time. And afterwards, they had such a good time. They saw it go live on our Instagram page, and every time there were like more views, they were like, oh, I saw that had more views. Like, oh, look how many views we got. And they were so excited about it. And I think that one stuck with me because it was really when we started revamping our social media and our outreach for our department. And it really just showed us how far such a little thing could go with our staff. And that moment just stuck with me.
We always try to have some kind of educational aspect of it, but sometimes they are just fun, right? I know we were trying to do maybe like a fun video and then more of an informative one, kind of balance it out so people, our viewers aren't, I don't want to say bored, but are engaged still with our content. And it's not just, hey, how do you do this? Where do you call for this? It's,
I think that's the hard part about social media is that it is supposed to be fun, but we are trying to build in a educational and informative platform at the same time. So it's all about balance. I think for us, we do like to put in some of the fun ones, and I think Public Works Week is a perfect time to do that. But we do try to frame things in a way where we're still trying to teach them things.
Do you have like a personal favorite National Public Works Week memory?
My favorite would have to be 12 years ago when I started my career in public works. And it was because I had never seen anything like this in my life. And so you're here, you're working for a city, you're starting your career at the city, and then all of a sudden there's this thing, National Public Works Week. Okay, so what is that? And then of course, that's when I was introduced to the cook-off. And so, we drive out to the location that year for the cook-off. And there's just all of these people, everybody's in uniform, similar to me. We all have similar stories. And then I'm just over the moon, saying that there are like-minded people like me that just want to be in a community and serve. And that's really my fondest memory of it. And I also won a cooler that year, so that was pretty cool. And I still have that cooler to this day. It was great. It was a great time. I really found out and understood at that time that I was a part of something a lot larger than myself.
When it comes to, I guess, involving your community, what do you do to try and involve them year round? Not just during National Public Works Week, but what do you try and do year round to get the community involved with you?
The only social media I do is here at work, and it's for the sole purpose of putting out our message of all the things we're doing to help you. And that means that, yes, we had to detour you around Riverside Road on Tuesday. That's because we were putting in a new culvert to help and make sure we don't have flooding. And we had to close a portion of the road because we were tree trimming. Why? Because if we don't trim the trees, we're going to have trees falling in the road. And just really trying to make sure we get the message out before, unfortunately, on social media, there's a lot of naysayers, get the chance to paint their picture on it. And it's just really great to tell our story because so much of what we do, and we do it well, is invisible. I often joke, never does the phone ring and somebody, I drove to work today, I didn't hit a single pothole. That's not the calls we get. And part of being in the job, you have to understand, our job is about fixing problems. And when we do our job well, the phone doesn't ring. And you just got to take pride in that.
Why do you think it's important for Public Works to show that, yes, we can show up and we can fix your problem, but we're also fun people who can do dance challenges on Instagram or TikTok?
Well, I think it's because it makes that person on the other side of the phone, or that person on the other side of the email very real to our community. Like, hey, these are real people. They're doing everything they can for us, but I tell you, by God, they can have a really great time also. And I think it's important just to show that lighter side of people. Just to let them know that, hey, we're all one community. And so, we work for the city. We know our residents, you live in this city. But community is more than just owning a property in the city, right? Community is everybody in that city that's working together, trying to move forward, and trying to reach that goal. And our goal in Sugar Land is to be the best city in America. And we can't reach that goal without having great residents, and we can't reach that goal without having the very best staff and very best support system. And so we like to show that. And we like to show that, hey, we can keep it light sometimes. We can have a good time, and we can do that too. And so it's great. And especially when a resident can look online and look at the name and like, hey, what is that? That's Ryon. I spoke to Ryon, a couple of weeks ago. I talked to him on the phone, or who is that? Oh, that's Cindy. Well, now I got an email from Cindy, right? And so it's a way to link the community together, from residents to those of us that work for the community, and create that bond with each other.
Do you guys have any final thoughts about National Public Works Week that we didn't maybe cover here?
I want to say it sneaks up on us every year, but
It does sneak up on us every year.
it's because, for us, we put in so much time into it on the back end, like on top of the actual weeks long events. Petra and I are working on the back of, planning out our content for that entire week. And we'll have stories, we'll have reels, we'll have posts. So a lot of work goes into that. And of course, creating that video for our city council as well. We're working on that script. We're working on putting together videos, getting our camera crews out there sometimes with us to get those professional videos.
But it's also coordinating, I think, with the entire department, because National Public Works Week, we really try to get everyone involved. And we have a lot of different things. Last year, we did the one with the drone where we had our staff step out and make a P and a W, and then we went in with the drone overhead. But it's also coordinating that effort. We also, every year, right before Public Works Week, we do our department photo. So we do a large department photo, and then we do smaller divisional photos, and then they get to keep those throughout the years,
And display them in their office.
this is where we've progressed. These are our staff members.
And just even coordinating that is so difficult. So it really requires a team.
Yeah.
I think
And creativity. I'd
Yeah.
say coordination and creativity are probably the two biggest factors for Public Works Week.
Thank you for listening to Public Works Radio, the official voice of the American Public Works Association. And a special thank you to today's guests, Petra Beglarian, Ani Oganesyan, Ryan Bell, and Tom Roy. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts, rate it, review it, and forward us along to a friend. And don't be shy about dropping us a note over at podcasts@apwa.org so we can hear your feedback directly. We'll catch you next time.